The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com
and GH Graphics and their Junket apparel line.
The 2015 Bash for Cash and Smash It Demolition Derby, Bull Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone Nationals.
Napa Winter Slam 2015
And Derby Inc. magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marport.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to an early edition of the Crash Course here on the last Monday of 2014. Brian Tompkins joining me here in studio. Brian, thanks for coming. There's Brian right there.
Tired.
When I did,
One of the two.
when I talked to Jim about this new system, he likens it to playing a video game, and it kind of is like playing a video game. Only need about 6 hands to do it, and still not the most fluid at it. But that was a good look at Sean Gokenauer's tire. The good news for Sean Gokenauer is Levi was born today.
Sean and Kim had their second son. Congratulations.
Making his rounds today, and sharing some photos of Levi. Good sized kid.
Yep.
At 19.34 inches, which I believe that makes the baby taller than Sean right away.
And yeah, he was definitely the proud papa. He sent some pictures, and I texted him congratulations, and he said he appreciated it, and said that mama and baby are doing well. So congratulations.
That's good. Very good. Very good. Early start to the Crash Course tonight because there is a basketball game that's going to be on Finger Lakes 1. We got to be out of here about 5:30 or so. So we figured we'd get the early start time. Ben Haast, we had a chance to catch up with him a little bit yesterday. He's recovering well, doing much better, getting around much better than probably any of us expected him to be getting around at this point. But we also know that Ben's got a pretty high tolerance for pain and discomfort too. So that's not too much of a surprise. So good to know that he's getting better. He wasn't able to join us tonight after he had a little bit of a busy weekend. Finally got out to one of the basketball games to go see Hunter play. And
actually, I think he saw Hunter's team won a JV tournament. I believe Ben was able to make both games, so he's getting to get out a little bit more.
Yeah, he ventured out into the real world for the first time in 3 weeks, and it took it out of him. Interesting to learn that there is no Mountain Dew in the near future for him.
I'm pretty sure that PepsiCo is probably gonna have to lay off a shift. But it was great. I hadn't seen Ben since the day of the surgery, and I saw him that night, and he got up, moved a little bit then, and he was obviously he was definitely moving a little slower than usual, but it was great to spend time with him yesterday and get out and just shoot the breeze. I mean, we haven't really had a chance to hang out and talk. He hasn't been up since the week before the surgery, actually.
The day before the surgery.
Yeah. No, it was the week before.
I thought he missed the show, and then he was in surgery the next day.
Yeah, well, so it was the week before was the last time he was here. So we hung out, and we it was just good. We got together with Josh and hung out and did some talking, and got some cool stuff coming up, I believe, and
hashed out some good stuff. I mean, it was a good talk. It was a conversation that needed to be had.
Of course, we watched football. We did, and I found out that Josh is a Falcons fan, which I now know 2 Falcons fans in the world. And Josh's girlfriend Kate, I mean, I knew there was something sort of wrong, because she's with Josh to begin with, and she's a Dallas Cowboys fan, so we can't be friends anymore. But
I was afraid where you were going with this.
Thank you, Katie, for the hospitality and putting up with us all, and she got us pizza, and she was a great hostess, so thank you for letting us take up your living room for the afternoon. We really appreciate that.
I don't even make eye contact with Katie because I don't want to upset anybody.
You said it, I didn't.
I did say that.
But it was cool. Josh was sitting in his Josh has the man reclining chair underneath his trophy buck that hangs on the wall, so he's got a nice little corner of himself down there. It's pretty nice.
With all the shotguns in reach.
All the shotguns in reach. He looks like he might have planned it out when they moved the living room around.
And there was a window right there too.
Yeah, pointing towards your shop. So, if you guys want to mess in the shop, you may want to reconsider that. Just saying.
Josh let his guard down for a few minutes there yesterday, and his car was tagged.
Well, that's a funny story. Anybody that is friends with me on Facebook may or may not have seen. There's a picture of Josh's '68 Newport, and we were in the shop right before we left, and Ben and Josh were talking about why they do this or why they do that on the build and this and that, and Josh had sprayed some stuff on his car. He just dunks it, don't want it to rust, and Chris goes, "Hey, I dare you to take that can of paint and sneak over the other side of the car and put your number on it."
Actually, let's make sure the wording was right. I said, "Wouldn't it be funny if?"
Oh, okay.
I did not dare.
That's close
anybody.
to dare.
No,
that's close to dare.
I did not dare.
So me being me, I grabbed the black spray paint and put a 68 on the door facing Josh, and it took him a minute. Then he's like, "Dude, I wasn't going to paint that." So now it's painted, but
well, it's just marked with a year. That's all.
just close. Year, my number.
It's marked with Chris Forster's number.
Oh, yeah, Chris, we share a number. We share a number.
It's marked with most of Kenny Rosno's number.
Yeah. Jeremy Gully.
I saw he made mention of it too.
Yeah, throw another 8 in there. But that was a
Throw
good day.
another
I had
6
fun
in there.
yesterday.
686.
I thought it was 688. I'll see what happens when I think. That's why you're the Rain Man of Derby and I'm not.
I was pulling stuff out yesterday.
You were?
I didn't even know I knew it.
You were, but you did.
I did. It was neat.
It was.
Interesting year. I mean, it was fun to get together and have that conversation. We're a lot of one of the main topics was where we're going to be going next year. Winter Slam, obviously, that's coming up soon. February 2nd will be the kickoff to the 2015 season, and here that is only about 4 weeks away. I saw somebody was talking a little bit online. I don't remember what driver it was though. Was asking what tire compound they should run.
Terry Evans.
Yes, Terry Evans. Yep, was asking what tire compound they should run up at Winter Slam. Blizzaks or whatever other options he was putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Blizzaks doing okay last year.
I talked with Kenny Rosno and Sam Bandow both, and we kind of went back and forth, and they said what they thought, and I said what I thought, and it'll be neat to see because I definitely think that there was a few guys last year that definitely made a very good tire choice because they were moving around better than anybody else. We'll see what happens. I would definitely go for a fewer ply tire and less gear. I mean, you don't want to run a. You got that over there?
Yep.
You good?
Shut that off.
You definitely don't want to be running your short dry track gears on a frozen track, but again, all in all, we've said it a bunch of times, but that's a great show. I'm here to tell you, if you're in the area, come out and watch. It's going to be worth it. Every class is hard hitting and fast paced, and it's. I'm looking forward to see what the new truck class is going to be like. Because if they drive them, which I'm sure they will, like they drove.
It's going to be twisted.
Yeah, there's going to be junk made quickly up there. So Randy's dad will be running.
Yes.
We asked him at Blizzard Bash. He said, "Well,
I don't know.
We don't know for sure." And then I don't know. It was a week later, and they had a Mopar pulling it in the. And he goes, the downside is we sold all our Mopar stuff. So I see he had a thing up here a week ago. He's looking for some, I think it was forward dump headers to put on it. And so I told him the truck's got a Magnum motor in it. And I said, that thing will scream. We, Josh and myself have become
hopefully
converts to the Magnum motors this year. And
hopefully it's somewhere around 29 degrees out. Heat wave.
Nice. You know what though? And I've said it also is I didn't think it got bad till the sun went down. Mm-mm. Really, I mean, there wasn't a. We're down in a. The
problem is that close to the North Pole and being down in river bottom, the sun set at 3:00.
we were in the river bottom, so the wind wasn't a factor. Randy's crew did an awesome job getting rid of snow. It was
for a week.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was just, it's.
There's plenty of room to park, and nobody got stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
Even though you had all the cars driving over to the same surface, there's no.
No, yeah. That permafreeze, it held pretty good. And, the track got a little greasy on top, but I'm really looking forward to that show. I mean, there's no better way to start off the year than being in Minnesota watching a Derby in February. I mean, that is just it's awesome, really, truly awesome.
And then we're going to turn around and we're going to get right back into it May 9th with the stock show at Brookville. And we're going to turn around in June 6th. We sort of came to...
Is this the announcement? Ladies and gentlemen?
What?
Is this the official announcement?
No, we got another conversation about Bash for Cash.
Oh. Wow.
It was Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
What?
I skipped a show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then we talked a little bit more. We gotta finalize it, and I know we've talked a lot about this and going to Drive for 5.
Yep.
What?
Nothing. You guys definitely did talk about Drive for Five last night.
A lot.
There
was a lot of conversation about that, and I know Rick Harrington is we've talked with him a lot about it too, and we talked about it with him last year, and now they've relocated their show back to the week after Memorial Day, so that'll be ahead of anything that comes up in June, and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be cool if we end up getting everything put together. And I mean, it's an outstanding show. Last year that show was tremendous. And Jimmy Johnson's very intimate with that show, and it's one
that's
of them.
That's the Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, not
that guy that runs NASCAR. This is the
not
Jimmy
the guy that
Johnson.
turns left. It's the guy that goes forward into things.
Yeah, the Jimmy Johnson.
We saw him invert a bumper this year. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
That was a lot of fun. You didn't go to Hot Springs, right?
No,
you didn't go to.
I missed some of the tour you guys had.
Oh, what a year it was.
Work and stuff.
And we put together the finishing touches on June 6th. I think that we're going to be pay-per-viewing Kings of Old School.
Where?
In Whitney Point.
What show's that?
The one that we spent a whole show talking about last week.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I think that'll be awesome. Get some guys in the Northeast, out there a little more.
Well, there's going to be people from all over coming to the Northeast too.
Absolutely. I really truly think this is, it's going to be the show to see in New York State this year. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I'm going on a limb. I think it's a pretty safe one though.
You think it'll be better than the State Fair?
It's going to be tough. I mean, to go up there and watch bumper cars for 15 or 20 minutes, that's an incredible show also. But I just think with Josh and Brett haven't let me in on all the secrets. Actually, they haven't really let me in on many. But
what do you know that?
But with the work they're putting into it, and knowing Josh and Brett like I do, I definitely think they're gonna do what it takes to make this show successful. The great inspecting crew. Some of the they mentioned the Mad Dog Award last week, which is that's just great. I think it's going to be it. I think it's going to be the show in New York State 2015. If you're close, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, I think it'd be worth it. Come on out, give it a watch. It's not going to, it's not a super heavy build.
You forgot a bunch of places: Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire.
Yeah. Those places also. I definitely think come on out this way and check it out. I think it's going to be the show to see.
And then from there, later on in the month, we're going to do the Keystone Nationals at the end of June, and then from there it jumps right into the fair season. And the fair season's still wide open in terms of what's going to happen. We're still waiting for final rule announcements from Seneca County. We're still waiting on any pending changes that might happen at the Ontario County or at the Otsego County fairs. In terms of rules and structure with that, we haven't gotten any. There's been nothing about nothing public about Yates County. I know there's some stuff that's being worked on down there, which is so. I mean, the fair season is going to be just as much fun up here as the at-large season. August ends up being a heavier travel schedule. This year didn't quite pan out the right way, just with all the stuff that came up and really made August a challenge for everybody. I anticipate we'll probably be back on the road in August. We've already had talks with the folks in Wadena about going out there and maybe working on 2 shows, doing the Friday before in Bird Island, and then doing or just going and
which
and
is the show Josh ran in.
Yeah, or possibly going and visiting one of the builders' compounds up there. But again, that's all the way out in August. I mean, that stuff is all based off of what we've already done through the course of this year. We in January we were in Sturgis, in February we were in Sturgis, Kentucky. Then we were in
Hot Springs, Arkansas.
We were in Minnesota first.
Oh, Minnesota, you're right. Yep.
We were in Garden City, Minnesota in February. We were in. We did the Derby banquet, which we're going to be doing again next year on the 28th of February. From there, we went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I mean from there it just
Spring
took
Explosion.
off like a rocket. Yep, we had Pete Hansen was out there at Spring Explosion. We weren't at that show.
What? Didn't you guys do a DA show?
Yeah, Razorback Rumble in Hot Springs.
Yeah, that's what it was. My bad.
That was the one.
My bad. So this is the question, to throw it out there. We already mentioned Keystone Nationals. Do you think Pete Hansen defends his title? Do you think
it's a good question? It's a real good question. I don't know. Given that he's trying, I mean, he's made no secret with the fact that he's trying to sell some equipment off, and almost looks like he's trying to get out of the sport. But I mean, Derby's one of those things where it seems like when it's done with you, you can leave, but otherwise, you're in it.
You're stuck.
And I don't know. I mean, here's what I would hope to see is he goes and tries to defend his championship. There's the conversation we had with Bo last week is there's 9 states represented on the entry list for their stock program May 9th already.
Yeah.
Most of the common group of Bo Lockwood builders haven't registered a car for that yet.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean? Doesn't necessarily mean anything. Doesn't mean that they will. Doesn't mean that they won't. It just means that they haven't yet. I would like to see him build one of those cars. That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be
to watch that car go through inspection. That would be a ball. I mean, we've seen what he can do when he's given a heavy build set of rules, and he can sit there and analyze what it is. Now here it is, a much stocker build, and we've talked a lot about how the stock build does sort of put it more into the driver's hands because you don't have all the other stuff that's going to make the car. It's not going to give you the advantages in the car, with pressures and reverse pressures and braces and stuff like that. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see what he rolls in with.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, that's kind of what Pete started out in. I mean, he started out, we've touched on it.
But who didn't?
He started out small.
Who didn't?
Who
who didn't
right.
start with those?
You're right. But you know what, though? I mean, there are some kids that haven't. Logan Duvall. Logan Duvall jumped right in, 17 years old, building pro mods.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, I think kids today are starting out, the more serious kids are, in my humble opinion, are starting out on more of the heavier builds.
Right.
Because it almost seems like that's what's more in vogue at the moment.
Sure.
To a point. I mean, obviously, there are some very, very well, good paying stock shows. Metal Mayhem bone stock, basically. Bo's having the good paying bone stock or stock show. Kings of Old School. I mean, there's obviously that demand, but I think a lot of the kids that are in it and that are serious are getting into building the VIX and stuff like that with protectors and pressures and
geographically. I'll agree with you geographically. I don't think that the bulk of the newcomers to the sport, especially in our area, are jumping into that. They're jumping into mid-90s, mid-size and compacts, Buick Century, stuff like that. There are certainly a portion of the youth movement, especially in the Midwest, that have got the opportunities and the resources to go jump in at that level.
Mm-hmm.
They can build those tilted Fords. They can build the hard, I don't know, lack of a better term, Ohio style cars that you see in the 80s class. It shows like blanked on totally Razorback Rumble that you see at Bash for Cash, that you saw in the team program, which were so prevalent at Blizzard Bash.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. I'll go with you on that.
Yeah, it's but again, I mean, it's it's. I think the Derby is definitely alive and well. You hear some people keep talking about how it's dying, and I don't think it's dying.
Again, I think that's an accurate statement regionally. It's a geographic interpretation.
I don't really see anywhere that it's dying though. I mean, really, if you think about it, I think Derby's pretty strong everywhere. I mean, it may not be a full size class anymore, but I mean there's compacts and trucks and. I think as a whole, it's a pretty healthy sport, and I definitely think it's growing and there's room to grow. Hopefully we can help it do that also. But I think we're all right the way we're going, and I think what I'm seeing this year is I think it's helping, in that some guys don't want to do the big builds. They don't want to put that kind of time into it. So there is places where they can build a little lighter build, and
we've been talking about that for a year.
Yeah,
about how that divide is getting deeper and deeper, and now there's people that are picking, and they've got opportunities that are just as that have just as much return when they're going the way of the stock build versus the heavier stuff. We've talked to Chad Dyer's one where he talked about it. He's almost has more fun building one or two cars and run them a couple times. The Quinslers, when we talked to them, they said the same thing.
Yep.
Build one or two cars and run them a bunch of times versus, and I don't remember who put the post on Facebook where you can spend $5,000 and build one car. Yeah,
Joker did it.
So you know the post I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
You can spend $5,000 and build one car and run it 5 times, or you can spend $1,000 5 times and run each of those cars once. At the end of the day, you still spent the same amount of money.
Yep. And and obviously Joker did that just to kind of get the subject going and see what people thought. But I was actually talking to Joker the other night about it, and that's someday. I told him someday before I'm done, I'm going to run Bash for Cash. That's the one I want to go to and I want to run. I want to I just think it'd be cool to go out there and just stand in the gas and drive into the do some wagon junking. It may take 2 hits.
You're gonna go for broke. In the big classes. You're going to turn back old iron.
And that's my goal. But right now it's I'm not there to where I can do that yet. So it's cool for me to have a show. Like
why are you
Brett
looking at
has
me
this
like
year.
that? Why are you looking at me like that? I'm not buying you what you need to go do that.
We're not going to make that public yet.
We're in 2 different places.
We're not going to make that public yet.
You are having a conversation in your head that I'm not part of.
You don't want to make that public yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Because my other clients, Tom Dowd, Dan Bolton, and Josh Decker, Mr. Decker would be upset.
If they don't know or heard him, but that's the thing. It's it's definitely out there, and Joker promotes in North Carolina, and his shows are, basically I haven't read the rules, but from a little bit I've talked to him about it.
Oh yeah, we're booked for 2016. He already told us we have to come.
That's fine because we go down there and I get a tour of SHR. I've already been promised. So it's cool that that we those builds are because that's. I'm an old dude, so now I like watching the old iron get bent. That's what I grew up on, and that's the thing is, I read that and I didn't comment on it, but I'm sorry, Bill, but growing up at Waterloo, we expected our cars to be junk in one run. It didn't matter if they were a $25 car or $1,000 car; it was going to be junk in one run because that's how they get run down there.
There wasn't any forethought of second runs.
No, never.
That wasn't in the DNA of the event.
No,
that wasn't even a thought.
So that's and that's just me personally. You bring one.
When I was
home,
a kid growing up watching that, there was only one derby on the planet, and it was in Waterloo.
Sorry,
and those cars and those cars ran that night, and then they got destroyed, and everybody brought new stuff back. So when the same car from the previous year came back, in my mind, at the age of 5 and 8 years old, that car was cheated. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Wasn't there usually a family from Chemung that would bring the cars back?
Yeah, it was Mark Benjamin and his family.
Yeah,
that's who.
All right, I was just wondering.
I believe that's who you referenced.
Good evening, Mark. How are you, buddy? Nice to hear from you again. But
it's like that car's been here the last 9 years.
You know what's funny is his dad had I believe it was a 65 Imperial, and he called it Old Blue, and he won Waterloo like 6 years in a row with that thing. And I don't know if they would run it anywhere else or just win Waterloo and take it home and put it in the weeds and then bring it out the next year and win. But it was funny. And we
ask George Braun about that car.
No, it was funny. Mark and I started out kind of as rivals, and we've become great friends. Mark's a good dude, and I went down there and we spent a day just watching old derby videos of Waterloo. And it was funny. He's like, "Remember my dad talking about Old Blue?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "There it is," and it'd go out there and just junk stuff, but. That's what I grew up with. It was, one run and done. I
think everybody did.
As I've gotten older, you can, out of necessity, I think I've learned, okay, I can patch this up and, try to get a heat out of it. It's rare that I expect. I haven't tried to run a car in, 2 years straight, heat and feature. This year with my caddy, I ran Kuka Clash and then heat and feature and then rebuilt it and took it to Waterloo, but usually they're junk after one, so we're kind of used to that, but part of the game, I guess.
So what did you learn from this year? You got to go around and see a bunch of different shows. What stands out?
How great of a group of people there is in Demolition Derby.
Yeah,
I think is the one thing. You can from the internet and We Crash and stuff like that, I mean, you can kind of see how cars are built and how they hold up and stuff like that. But also by doing that, you start to know of people. You know what I mean? You've heard of Troy Tagg. You've heard of Bobby Brockaway. You've heard of Dave Garden, Jeremy Garden, Jason Brodzinski and Ryan Songalewski. You've heard of all these guys, and to actually get out there and meet them, it was great. I was, just everywhere we went, people were very, very, very welcoming, very happy to see us, come up and talk, and it was just cool. I mean, let's be really honest.
It was weird.
It was weird, and that's the thing is I was talking to Danny Ork the other night, or either Daniel or it might have been Kenny Rosno, and it was Kenny Rosno, and we were talking about going back to Winter Slam. I said, it's a great derby to watch. He said, yeah, and it's good to meet new people. And I said, it's still kind of weird to go to a derby and have people know us. And he goes, oh yeah, it's definitely definitely different. And he mentioned the podcast. And he mentioned
remember Decker.
yeah, that was Daniel before the show. Yeah. That was awesome. But it's just the people have just been so great this year. I expected the derby to be great, and it was. For whatever work reasons and personal reasons, I couldn't make the tour as you, Josh, and Ben did. But I made it to the two biggest.
What I learned is 5 hours in the car is not that long.
No, cruising to Ohio for Bash for Cash wasn't that bad. But I also learned that the planes we flew to and from on to Blizzard Bash were kind of small. But that's what'd you learn this year?
I learned that the community is very supportive of everybody. I mean, I know that's a blanket statement. I'll clarify it a little bit. I learned that Rick Englehart was a lot more loved than he ever knew, and it was really cool to see him recognized and honored the way that he was with his roof sign
everywhere.
Being on, everywhere. I mean, there was yellow 33s all over the place, which was really good to see after July, and how much, especially at the bigger shows, how much everybody was willing to help one another. I mean, look at the endeavor that the WFO team had to take on to get their cars back together for the qualifying team B main, or what Sam Bandow had to do to get his car ready, or even what Brodzinski and Songalewski and Rick Clark and Pete Hansen had to do in order to get their cars ready to come out and take part at Blizzard Bash. And we saw that all summer long in different places, the battles and uphill challenges that some of the teams faced when we were up in Wadena. Same thing for all the guys that had to adjust to the interpretation of the transmission rules when we were in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Just about everybody, every time we were out, had the chance to run. Whether it was the class that they wanted to run in, or in Jason Brodzinski's case, he took his car and went the other way. Instead of cutting it apart, he added metal to it, went out and ran with the modifieds.
Well, he started cutting apart, then he went, nah, I got a better idea.
Yeah, well, they
hauled in some steel, and
which
was awesome.
They just used the steel from the other cars. But that was something that was really refreshing to see. It wasn't the same as what our area is all the time. Our area is very protective of what they've got, and I don't know if that's just the haves and have-nots battling back and forth with each other, or what that is, because we run into the same thing in modified racing all the time, where you've got tarps and velvet ropes, and you can't go past this point without a VIP pass kind of thing.
Yep.
And it was good to see. And also, like what you were saying, with the sport being in a healthy situation, there's definitely pockets where car counts are dwindling. There's pockets where they're just not drawing well. But that's a product, I think, somewhat of the drivers understanding what is and isn't a good derby. Mm-hmm. They're not going to the places where the drivers aren't taken care of. There's certainly
they should.
There's certainly a hierarchy, a pecking order, if you will, of good show versus bad show, and they're going and they're supporting those good shows. We saw 500 plus entries go through in the various divisions, from Power Wheels up through the average cost of a car of $7,500 in some of the top end well divisions at Bash for Cash.
I thought we figured it higher than that.
We probably did. I think the $7,500 was a figure of the average cost of everything front to back. But even still.
But you're right, and I didn't think of that, but there's definitely a lot more open, and that's we've touched on that also. But I think that once you get to the premier derbies, I think everybody kind of figures, okay, we basically have the same stuff. You may not have a guard motor, but you have a motor that you feel is comparable. You may not have a Hofmeister engine cradle, but you have something you feel is comparable. Everything kind of.
You see Hofmeister's doing a couple shows this year?
Really?
Yeah, they're involved with 2 shows out in their
Yeah, it was in your it was in your magazine.
Go ahead. Finish the shameless plug.
No, it was. That's where I read it.
We are here during Finger Lakes One's regular business hours, so if we get a couple phone calls.
But what my thought was to complete it was, I think once you get to that level, I think the guys figured that things are pretty much built the same. Everybody kind of has the same. So then they feel it's more on the drivers is really what I think it is. And I think locally, you still have that pocket of guys that says, well, he's got this and I don't. And he's got that and I don't. And, it gets more, unfortunately, it kind of becomes personal. But it's tough. As Chris is talking on the phone. But, it was definitely a great year. We've seen some really cool stuff. Overall, everything good, Chris?
That was actually Jim trying to get a hold of some of the folks downstairs.
Oh,
he goes, I thought you were doing the show. I am. He goes, I'll catch up with you later.
But I just touched. I don't know if you were able to.
I caught some of it,
but
I did tune out once I was talking to Jim because I panicked. I thought something had gone wrong.
Oh, that's all right. But it is what it is. I definitely think that derbies. I think for the most part it's going in the right way. We'll just hopefully we can get a little bit of change here in New York. And
county fairs were fun this year. I got to go to a bunch of places I hadn't been to before. I was at Morris 3 times. I'd only been there
once. I was
at
Morris
before.
twice.
Yep, Morris 3 times. That was a good time. Experienced some of the oddest camera failures that weekend because there was shows the same nights and right in and around Rick's funeral that we had cameras up in Malone and we had cameras at the funeral that we were just kind of going to videotape when they did the pass down the front stretch at Walton. And that camera quit working, and the one up in Malone didn't get anything. Didn't save anything.
Really?
The following day in Morris, we had that same each of those were obviously different cameras because it was 2 places and 2 different days. A third camera had the same problem in the Crow's Nest for the afternoon show, and it worked flawlessly that night. Todd Height was up there running, and he goes, I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. So nobody can. Nobody can.
Wow.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those weird things. But
I did learn how to be a cameraman this year.
Did a good job too.
I don't know about all that, but I took my first baby steps at that, and that was pretty cool. That was cool.
It's not as easy as it looks, is it?
I never thought it to be easy. I was to be really honest, and it's the truth. I was nervous about doing it because I didn't want to screw up your. I mean, you obviously do the top of the line videos, and I didn't want to screw that stuff up. So we, it was the first show at Black Rock, and you were getting ready to leave your house or had left your house and didn't have anybody to do it. You were by yourself, and so I'll give it a shot. I don't want to do it. I want you to do it by yourself. And I went up on the flagger stand and
rule 1, don't talk.
Yeah, rule 1, don't talk. Which is hard for me, as most people know. But got up on the flagger stand and. Well, first, Chris got me pulled up into the announcer's booth.
Yes.
We got to do a impromptu Crash Course podcast from the announcing booth at Black Rock, which I wasn't really.
Now known as Yates County Speedway in Dundee.
Or Black Rock or Dundee. But that was a little different. I hadn't really done that before, but it all went well.
We had Dan Harpel on the 31st lap because he's now general manager of Penn Can Speedway, and he's in the process of finalizing his deal to maybe come back to Black Rock to Yates County Speedway, maybe not. And Mike Mallett's on 31st lap with me, which is going to air this week at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, also because of the holiday schedule changes. So we had him on, and he said that he's never heard anybody get so into announcing a demolition derby. Like he goes, you had stats, you had facts, you were telling people. I've never seen anything like it. Like I was actually engaged. It wasn't just wow, what a big hit 27 made. Like you knew who the drivers were. I'm like it's a nice compliment.
That's how the Raid Man does
cool.
It was impressive. It was impressive.
Well, Mike Mallett, who's the announcer for Empire Super Sprints, he's the voice at Utica Rome Speedway, and he travels all over the place. He goes, "What the heck?"
Wasn't Mike Mallett also the pit board for my brother?
Yep, he was.
We're going to call that the curse of Mallett. I wasn't there for it, but I'm going to call it the curse of Mallett.
I know we're getting a little bit off track here, but that's kind of what this was. We're just kind of freeform it today. John King. I'll get to John King here in just a second. Have you seen it all on Facebook? The vintage 1980 dirt modified. Yep. How awesome! Did you see the picture that was posted? I know it's not from the 80s, but Matt Shepard and the yellow 44, and then your brother and the Beachy number 1. Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. That was 2004. That was year we won Mr. Dirt. That was pretty neat. But yeah, it's definitely cool.
So we got to come up with a vintage 1980s demolition derby page where it's only old pictures.
I think that would be awesome. I mean, every now and then, J.C. Molly has been posted pictures because he's friends with the Ciopas. They're promoting a derby down in, I think it's Osceola, Florida, and he put up a picture, and it was a vintage. I mean, I'd have to guess early 70s picture, and it was a bunch of old school cars all crashing. And they said, remember when Demolition Derby had real cars, or when they had real cars and it was called Demolition Derby and they weren't Vicks or something along those lines? It was pretty neat. I've seen that a couple times on Facebook. But
John King's wondering if I got rid of my old hat. Not exactly. not exactly, but my Boston Red Sox hat is home. And if you'll notice that let me turn it. There you go. That's green. That is green right there. I got a little bit of a Christmas present from Sleeman Designs. The Reckless Abandon hats are in, so that was cool. Excited to see that. Talked with him today. Everything is done in shipping.
Good.
And if he didn't get to the post office today, he's going to get there tomorrow. He had tons of stuff that had to get out. So should be all caught up on orders with a backlog of inventory. And within the next 2 weeks, there should be at least 2 new designs out. And the beanies are on order. Beanies, the knit ones that we're going to need when we go outdoors in Minnesota. Yeah, I like those. Only with the WA on it instead of the 39.
Do they have one for fat noggins? Because my head's kind of big. It would come in handy in Wadena, Garden City.
Yeah, they're gonna be handy. they're gonna be real handy. Eric Tagg, call me. He says the show's not good with only 2 people.
Ouch, that hurts.
So we gotta get him on. Josh Buell was just filling me in. I asked for his number. We got to get a third guy in studio. I'd be happy to. Be happy to get a third guy in studio.
Would one isn't on IR and the other one isn't working?
Yes. Yeah, because he has a regular job.
He does. So do I, but it doesn't exist until January 2nd.
Yeah, how nice has this been, right?
This is very nice.
Is Crystal done with you at home?
Yes, she is. Yeah, she's ready for me to be back to work. Yep. Got a little bit of a little growth going. Haven't shaved in a couple weeks, kind of like that. Pretty sure I'm going to grow my hair out so I can wear it in like a bun on top this year when we go to shows.
Like a sumo wrestler?
Yeah.
That's not a good decision.
Wouldn't that look cool though?
No.
Really?
No, there's not one thing about that sounds like a good idea.
How about just straight ponytail?
No. First of all, your hairline starts over the top of your ears. It's right here.
Oh, that's nice.
There's not going to be. You're going to look like.
I can comb it back. Woo!
You're going to be Crash Course Paul Heyman.
That would be cool.
No, it wouldn't.
I can bring the hustle.
Maybe he's right. Maybe Eric Tagg is right.
Why is Eric got to be downers on us, man?
I don't know. I'm trying to get his number. I don't think I have it. Let me check. Where didn't we go this year that you wanted to get to?
I would have liked to hit the bigger shows with you guys that I missed in Kentucky and Arkansas. Unfortunately, I had a birthday party for one. My wife threw me a surprise 40th. Then the other one couldn't get off work. No, there was something else going on. But Josh
Eric said Eric just messaged me. He clarified. He said he needed some comic relief.
Well, I don't have anybody to pick on because I can't pick on Chris.
You can pick on me all you want.
I can't. I feel bad.
Don't have to feel bad.
But
Dan Bolton had a point, which we've done this in the past. He said, "What about rotating local drivers in from time to time?"
Absolutely, I'd love to have Dan Bolton on our show.
Dan would be great to have on the show. The problem is he lives like 2.5 hours away.
Yeah, he'd have to go to Decker's and then drag Decker with him.
We'd have to send a helicopter for him.
We've had a bunch of local drivers.
We have. I mean, we've had a lot of luck with local drivers coming on. I mean, last week we had Brett and Mark both in studio. I'm trying to get Eric's phone number. I'll call him quick.
Absolutely.
We got about 20 minutes left. So you want to get to some of the bigger shows?
I'd like to. I mean, listening to you guys, obviously I could tell just from you guys had a rough schedule last year.
It was busy.
Yeah, you guys looked burned out on many Mondays when you came in here to do the show. But I'm definitely looking forward to going to Bash for Cash again. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we'll probably be back in Topeka in next November. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing both shows. I've never been to the Keystone Nationals. Really looking forward to that, especially with the bigger pay and everything. I think it's going to bring even more of the great drivers in. Definitely looking forward to King's Old School.
King's Old School should be fun.
It'd be nice to go to the Drive for 5. That'd be cool. It's always neat to go to some place I've never been. It's good to go back to places I've been, but I like going to new places. I'd really like to get to Utah. I think that'd be cool to go out there and catch a show. I know Lazenby and Decker have talked back and forth about maybe going out there for one of Lazenby's shows, so that'd be cool to do. I mean, there's Ohio's kind of the mecca this way, but I think Utah is the mecca of the far west. I mean, they just good shows, impressive builds, impressive hitting. It'd be neat to go.
That hit on, was it T.J. McPhee's wagon?
Yeah.
That ended up winning that one hit of the year with the Booze
Brothers.
Brothers. Yeah.
Yep.
They ended up getting hit of the year. Joey Roth is a kid that I kind of came to know a little bit out there in Washington, and he ended up taking that whole thing over, and there was like 50-some entries.
No kidding.
And, it was pretty cool.
Did Tim Ellison get entered in that?
No. I don't think so.
I didn't know if he ended up.
if we get Dan Bolton, Josh Buell's going to ride up with him.
We can do that. We got enough room for 4.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah,
it'd be 5.
easily. Yeah, we'd
have to.
There's no trouble there.
We may have to have Decker sit out in the hallway, and he could talk on a long cord, but.
Well, there's room enough on the couch for all of them.
I don't know about that. It'd be tight. I'm not losing my chair. I can promise you that.
No, you made that very clear.
But what are you looking forward to in 2015, Chris?
Seeing all the cars that Matt Greshel's been pulling in, getting wrecked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he tagged me yesterday hauling a Buick Roundy and a 225. And I texted him today. I said, "You back to work?" He goes, "Nope, not till January 5th." I said, "More cars." I said, "What are you hauling?" He said, "Wait and see." So he's definitely got and he sent me pictures of just stuff he's brought in since like December 9th.
Yeah.
And
it's been nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, he's hauled in like 10 sweet cars so he's definitely. I said, "I think you have a derby car habit." He said, "Yeah, I think I do too." But he keeps hauling them in, so apparently it's
I sold my 300. That's gone. That the 4-door 68 300 now has a home in Buffalo, and at one point I had a 65 Imperial driver. Put that in quotes because looked like it was put at the bottom of the Mississippi before it went to Mason City, Iowa. But in any case, I had it, and I wanted to get one. And some of the stuff that he's bringing in with the intention of derby again, he had a couple boxcar Imperials. I was like, I would gladly take one of those, but man, they're all going to get wrecked. Most of them probably going to end up in New York anyway.
Yeah, I think a few of them are going to get sold. But it's funny you brought up Imperials. Yesterday when we were down to Josh's house, he had his Imperial wagon that he ran, and then a buddy of his ran at Brookfield. And I have got such an itch to build a Imperial, just because I've ran a few Imperials, but I didn't know anything then. I mean, it wasn't like it is now.
So what would you go for? Would you still go for a full framer, or would you go for a subframe car?
I think a subframe car.
Yeah,
I think a subframe car. I know a pretty experienced builder that's got a lot, but he's good with subframe or with full framers. I would really like to build one.
When Josh Buell comes up, he's getting that chair. Last time he got to sit in the hippie chair, he said. Remember that old orange thing? I don't know where that ended up. Hopefully the burn pile.
Josh can sit over on the chair over across from me. Then behind him, we can run highlights from Waterloo through the whole night.
We could do that. We could do that as long as there's no basketball game scheduled. We could. We're working on getting the rest of this stuff together, but we'll have the laptop here, and it can beam across.
Yeah, your computer
and it can
is
play.
there. That computer is there tonight that usually runs stuff.
And we can beam across the room to the TV, and it's got a receiver on it. So whatever we pull up on YouTube, we'll play behind us. We just basically make a Waterloo playlist and just have it on there in perpetuity for the whole show.
Perpetuity, I agree.
Forever.
I agree. Perpetuity.
Okay.
It would be cool. Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's always good to get some different drivers up here and talk to them. And
they're doing a Blizzard Bash team style show out in Utah. The tags are all going to be involved with, and the tag boys are split up.
Really?
They're all on different teams to take out their dad.
Wow.
Interesting.
I've met 3 of the tag boys, great guys, but I think it's going to be hard to beat the old man. I think,
he does okay, right?
Troy's a and nothing against the boys builds, but Troy's pretty close to the complete package. I think he took 2 or 3 wins out of Utah last year.
Yeah, they did pretty well out there.
And I think it was 2, and the third one maybe it was one of Troy's buddies that was there with him that won it. So, and Troy, and I've said it before on Facebook. Troy Tag is like the California guy. He is so laid back and so just mellow, and to talk to him, he's just always I've always seen him in a good mood. I've asked him a bunch of. I'm sure he was sick of seeing my name pop up on his phone when I was building my first Cadillac, and every question I had, he'd send pictures and anything else you need. This is just a great. And again, another he's a guy that really. It's the epitome of Derby, just so helpful to me.
This summer made the Derby world feel very small.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I mean?
It did.
Like very close knit.
It did. It was cool. And like I said, it's just so many people you've read about and heard about. We got to shake hands and meet them, and it was strange having people know who I was in Derby circles like that. Got to thank Chris Marquardt for that. But
wow.
It was pretty cool.
It was people that wanted us there.
Yeah, that was neat.
Justin Gilmartin says he gets enough comic relief just by watching you.
Everybody's got to be good at something. Comedy's my thing.
Well, I suppose we should probably do some of this first.
Yeah, I got to pay some bills, right?
Yep. We should tell people. Who should we bring up first? Want to do Winter Slam first?
Got to do Winter Slam, man. We're on the way.
One that's next. Let's do that. We'll do Winter Slam first. We'll be back after this. Get ready for Napa Winter Slam. Napa Auto Parts will bring you the coolest outdoor derby of 2015, scheduled for February 7th at the Blue Earth County Fairgrounds in Garden City, Minnesota. Promoters Randy Maslowski and Jeremy Ertman have tons in store for the earliest outdoor derby of the year. The headline class will pay $1,500, with the compacts, 80 stock, and the event's new truck division each paying $1,000 to win. There will also be most aggressive and longest tow awards, and at this point, all classes are full with only a few vending spots remaining. In the event of weather complications, officials have booked February 14th as a rescheduled date, but only if needed. So come out, dress warm, and break up your winter with a 4-division derby featuring some of the top derby talent in the Upper Midwest. Green flags are at 2, and Buster's Sports Bar and Grill has been locked in for the after party again this year. For more information, visit Napa Winter Slam's Facebook page or contact Randy Maslowski or Jeremy Ertman via their social media pages. Bo Lockwood Motorsports is primed for a huge 2015 season. Having expanded to include 4 massive shows, Bo Lockwood and his team look to change the face of Demolition Derby in western Pennsylvania. Their schedule opens May 9th at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania. It will include one of the richest stock shows around, paying $5,000 to win and $400 to start. The card includes full payback lawnmowers and separate $500 to win truck and compact one-and-done events. Attention then turns to the all-new Keystone Nationals, now being hosted as a standalone event June 27th at the Westmoreland County Fairgrounds in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. The limited well division winner will pocket $10,000, and every feature starter is guaranteed $400. A 1,000 win stock event will be joined by a 1,000 win compact feature and full payback lawnmowers and the debut of the Power Wheel. The focus then goes back to Brookville, July 18th for the 3,000 to win Jefferson County Championships in Brookville, Pennsylvania, and the season concludes July 25th with a return to the Clarion County Fairgrounds in Clarion, Pennsylvania. All green flags drop at 6 p.m. and Bo Lockwood has more announcements to come, so stay tuned to Bo Lockwood and Bo Lockwood Motorsports on Facebook. And you thought last year was huge. The Bash for Cash returns to the Demolition Derby Limelight Memorial Day Weekend 2015. Every bit of action is returning, and there's some more added in. DerbyParts.com is back with the 80s newer class, paying $11,000 to win. DerbyTees.com is back, paying the turn back the clock winner $10,000. And now the compacts are cashing in, vying for at least $3,000 in their championship event. Action is planned for May 23rd and 24th, again at the Fayette County Fairgrounds in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Early inspections are planned for Friday, May 22nd. For a full rundown of the schedule and divisions, visit www.smashitderby.com.
And we're back.
Helps when I mute your mic, huh?
And we're back.
So you already got your Christmas tree down, you're saying?
We got it down today.
And
got it down, cleaned everything up, vacuumed.
You do a real one?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
About 12 foot worth.
What?
Yeah, about 12. You see my living room.
Yeah.
It's got to touch the ceiling.
So would you put like 2 4-footers in there? 3 4-footers to get 12 feet?
Got to touch the ceiling. We went to Wrights last day of shotgun season. We killed a bunch of deer, and then we went to Wrights and cut down a tree, and 12 foot tall.
Well, good for you.
Yep.
No, we do a fake one on a regular basis. It's just easier that way.
Well, you're one of them town people too.
Yuppie, I believe is the word you use.
Yeah, you're a yuppie.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
You're a socially, yuppie sort of person.
Yep. I am the dumb camera guy.
No, I'm the dumb camera guy. You're the one that knows everything. I'm a dumb camera guy.
Josh ran a camera this year.
Josh who?
Decker.
Really?
Yeah, he helped with at the Crow's Nest with one of the nights in Morris. We're there.
Oh, the first show.
Yeah, in the spring.
You're right. Yep.
At one point, I had it counted up how many different states we'd been in for derbies, and I don't remember. I think it was 9 this year.
That's crazy.
Something insane like that.
That's crazy. I was only in 2, 3, Ohio, New York, and Kansas. Right? Yeah, Ohio, New York, Kansas.
Yeah, it was 9.
That's not bad.
No, I'll take it.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Spread things out a little more this year. We got
yeah.
You guys,
I think less is more.
Yeah. Do a little less. Knock them all out of the ballpark, and
there's a lot of stuff that I want to do. That's for sure. A lot of stuff that I want to do.
Absolutely.
We'll see if it all comes around. To dispel a rumor, I guess there's rampant suggestion that there's problems with the Northeast Championship in Brockton, Massachusetts. I talked with Eileen Mann. There's no cause for concern right now. There's nothing suggesting otherwise that event doesn't have a home. It is still right now on schedule to be at the Brockton Fairgrounds. It's still going to happen the same time frame that it has every year. There's no reason for that rumor to permeate any further.
I haven't heard a word.
There was some discussion about the grounds and the future of the grounds and what was going to happen to the area where that fairgrounds was. In terms of that being fact or fiction, I can't say. But in terms of the event being held there this year, right now, it's on schedule and it's going to happen still at the Brockton Fairgrounds in Massachusetts. Northeast Championship still on pace to happen the way that it was planned to. So hopefully any of the guys listening out in the New England area that were wondering about that they can put their concerns to rest.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that.
No.
Nope, no, I hadn't.
You gonna try and make it out to that?
When is it?
First week of July. Last week of June, and then the following first week of July.
I have to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Have to see what's up.
See what Gary's schedule is for the modified.
I don't know. I haven't helped that too much the last few years. Having the two boys at home, that's kind of they definitely have the number one spot for my time. So we'll see what happens.
It's one of the reasons why we do so many overnight trips the way that we do. Derby ends, we try to make it back home, and yeah, it's crazy, but it gives us that extra little bit of time at home instead of staying in the hotel. And
we discussed that a little bit yesterday, though. It almost sounded like maybe we were gonna try to get some sleep and then drive home from a few of the shows.
And that's certainly understandable.
The Bash for Cash ride home last year was long.
That was a long ride.
That was.
We had a lot of stops.
Yeah.
We had a lot of stops on the way home.
Yeah, we go for making record time going out. And we weren't even pushing it.
No,
but we picked up Vern Who and Josh rode back with us because they'd rode out with Brett and had some car problems, and we gave them a ride back, and everybody was just whooped. I mean, I think that was the first time I'd seen Chris sleep that weekend is when we got in the van finally.
Yeah,
and he slept for a while, and I did some sleeping until Vern scared the shit out of me.
And I felt terrible about it too.
Yeah,
I hate. I try as hard as I can to. Yeah,
but it was a great year. I mean, when you sent me a text or said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" and I said, "Yeah, I think that'd be neat." I mean, I never in my wildest dreams figured it would turn into what it has. I mean, I definitely think as four Derby guys, we've worked hard for it, but to a point we've also been blessed, to have the stuff happen that has, and is continuing to be happening, and I mean to go where we've gone and see what we've seen and met who we've met. It's an incredible year, I'd say.
Scratch the surface this year, I think. I mean, from where we started with this in August of 2013 to take off and include Blizzard Bash 2013, and then for this year, 2014 to go the way that it did was awesome. We're real fortunate to have the support of a lot of people, and a lot of promoters believe in what we're working on and what we're working towards. And now we're going to start all over again, back at the beginning, back at ground zero, back with the learning process as we get ready to roll out the pay-per-view stuff coming up for the following year. And we've mapped out a modest schedule with the intentions of it being a modest schedule. We don't want to do 70 pay-per-views through the course of the summer. There's no need for that. It's not a... And we've got some other little Easter eggs that are in the work, too, that'll be a lot of fun for a lot of people. So make sure you keep your eyes on the Facebook page and keep tuning back here for the announcements as those develop.
No, I definitely think less is going to be more this year. Make sure we do it well, give the Derby fan what they deserve. I mean, everybody works hard for their money. I mean, when they hit the buy button, I want them to have the best experience possible. I want them to not have things lagging and not have black screens, and take our time, do it right, make sure we
not
get it
have
done
steering
right.
wheels show up in place of Brian Tompkins' forehead.
That stink.
Or SS wheels. That happened tonight.
Yeah, that did. But that was free, so it happened here, so we're good there. But we definitely want our pay-per-view to be, the top of the line, and we plan on striving to do that because we want to give the Derby fan what they deserve, and try to get the Derby drivers and the Derbies out there. So I think 2015 is going to be a great year.
It's going to be a busy year. It's going to be a full year.
If you've liked this year, keep watching.
Yeah,
it's only going to get better.
It's a sign of things to come. But I appreciate your help. You've been here since day one, and I don't think you've ever missed a show in terms of the studio, other than maybe one or two for football.
I've missed a couple work nights. I had to work doubles or something, but it's great. Like I said, when you mentioned it to me, I was all for it. And again, I've said it a million times. I just said it. I want to thank you. For me, who go from knocking windows out in my dad's, garage to going Blizzard Bash and having people know me by name. It really has truly been surreal, and the fan support that this show has is amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for supporting us.
That's why we've been able to do it 64 times.
Yeah.
Episode 64.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. I don't take any of this for granted. I'm so happy. Every time every time Chris, we get done or when Chris has his computer, he says there's 100 people watching or 50 people watching. It's great. I truly appreciate the support, and keep going. We're gonna keep doing our best and try to bring you guys more in the future.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Well said.
I've been
We got-
practicing that for all of like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've shown a lot of growth in terms of being on the microphone and getting better and studying up and knowing who's coming on and what we're looking at and things like that. So I thought that was well done for the year. And boy, we're struggling a little bit at home, trying to get all these parts and pieces that we need to have in line to get them to work right. We've had a couple of people that have been doing some testing for us here on the backside. We'll get it straightened out, and 2015 is going to be a fun one.
And of course, Chris and I have kind of, we've touched on, that doesn't sound right. We've mentioned each other here, but also, Josh and Ben, we abuse Josh a lot and we bust his balls, but Josh really does have a heart of gold. He loves this sport. All he wants to do is to see it get bigger and bigger. And he's put a lot of time and effort and, into the show and into the success, and it's great. And, Ben started a little bit later, but the technical side that Ben brings is second to none. I mean, there is nothing that we have seen or, parts, inspection, builds. There's nothing that we've seen that Ben hasn't been able to explain to us and explain to a T. Two great guys, very, very big assets. And, on behalf of Chris, I am really thankful that, we have each other as a team and they add so much. And, I miss having Josh here every week so I can pick on him like the little brother, but he's obviously busy and it is a 2-hour drive for him every week.
Right.
So, Ben's healing. Hopefully we can get him back here in the next week or two if he's feeling up to it. But again, two huge assets to the show, and I really appreciate, those guys and what they do for us.
But by all means, we appreciate everything those guys do. The contributions are they're endless. Really, in terms of the knowledge that Ben's been able to pass on to us on the live shows, and then Josh, being very much the personality that he brings to the show. It's a good mix and good team, and I look forward to a lot of good things to come. This is going to be a lot of fun as we end 2014 and roll into all the new adventures that 2015 is going to bring. Had a note here real quick just before we sign off. I don't think that note was meant for me. All right. So
Whoops.
I'm not 100% sure what happened there. But I think that's going to do it for us. Episode number 64 in the books. We'll see it in 2015. Coming up at 6 o'clock, the Finger Lakes One .tv live streams of the basketball games are going to be coming up. I think this is going to be one of the Waterloo Minders games, I believe. I'm trying to find it on the schedule over there on the wall. I don't remember what it was. Yep, it's going to be one of the Waterloo games. I think they're up in North Rose tonight. So basketball coming up. Stay tuned. Appreciate everybody. Have a great New Year. Merry Christmas to everybody who we forgot last week. And have a great New Year. Be safe. And we will see you next time on the Crash Course. Thanks a lot. Whoops, that didn't work.
Come on, Chris. Yep, there you go.